The battle manga genre is no longer the king of shonen. The big three of Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece has been two-thirds dismantled, replaced by dramas and sport manga like Attack on Titan and Haikyuu. But then, there's My Hero Academia, a shonen that has taken the coveted number 2 spot behind Big Daddy One Piece by being a familiar but better series. My Hero Academy is known affectionately by dozens of nicknames, but I'm going to go with My Hero because it has the least syllables, so that's what I'm using. My Hero takes place in a world where 80% of the population have superpowers known as quirks. Our protagonist is Izuku Midoriya, born quirkless and thus never able to fulfill his dream of becoming a superhero like his idol and Superman proxy, All Might. But when Midoriya helps save his childhood friend from a supervillain, All Might sees Midoriya's potential and grants him the passed down power of One for All, which basically makes a person stronger, faster, and more durable. From there, Midoriya joins the Hero Academy to hone his new power and become the greatest hero ever. When I say that My Hero is a familiar series, I mean that it follows a familiar shonen formula. We have a strong-willed underdog protagonist who has a special weapon that sets him apart. He's frequently looked down upon or underestimated by his peers, only to exceed expectations and inspire everyone around him. Add in some training arcs, a cast of colorful characters, some cool abilities, and you get the formula that defined shonen for years. What sets My Hero apart is it takes what its predecessors have done, learns from their mistakes, and improves on the formula. The biggest improvement to the shonen formula is My Hero's pacing. Gone are the dozen-chapter-long fights filled with flashbacks and expositions that littered most battle manga of the 2000s. Now, fights and flashbacks are typically condensed to about 1 to 3 chapters. Within about 20 chapters, we're introduced to a large cast of hero and villain characters with their own motivations. Uraraka wants to become a career hero to make lots of money and support her parents. Bakugo is a cocky hothead with a personality more suiting a villain, but genuinely wants to be a hero. And that's just 2 of them. By chapter 17, we get to see this large cast in action and we get a big showdown with one of the series' main villain groups. By the time we get to chapter 50, approximately a year's worth of publication, we're right in the middle of the excellent Stain arc, where the story's themes of heroism are challenged by a villain who finds career heroes to be frauds. My Hero tends to shy away from trope, or at least avoids dwelling on them for long. The series honestly starts out a bit tropey and even predictable as its main characters, world, and themes are being set up. But by the time we get to chapter 7, all that passes. Midoriya proves his resourcefulness during the entrance exam, gaining the respect of his classmates who are mostly nice people, and we get right into the meat of the story. What I also really like about My Hero is how unique everyone's quirks are. Tape dispensing, paralyzing people whose blood you taste, frogginess, sticky grapes. Yeah. Weird powers like these that are seldom seen make for really interesting action and fight scenes. And it's a really refreshing break from the standard ice power, fire power, wind power. There's even one kid who's fire and ice, so that kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Just to show how improved My Hero is from the standard, let me compare it to a current series which is the living embodiment of bad anime trope, Black Clover. Black Clover somehow manages to shove every overused annoying shonen trope into a pathetically bland and uninteresting series and somehow still stay in publication. The protagonist is loud, kinda dumb, and powerless in a world of wizards. He can't cast any magic of his own, but he's always trying really hard. His rival is a quiet, super powerful, cool guy who everyone loves. Then he gets a really great sword which can cut and deflect magic, a weapon that trumps all others. Asta is constantly looked down on by just about everyone until he inevitably inspires or wrecks them. There's a fire guy, a water girl. It's just all so boring and predictable, and it's just all been done before. I don't want to spend too much time dwelling on Black Clover, and it's hard to explain in words why exactly Black Clover is so bad compared to My Hero, when structurally they're very similar. You just have to read it for yourself. But the short answer is execution. While Black Clover revels in all these tropes, My Hero passes them and moves on to entirely different things. To be honest, considering Black Clover came out a year after My Hero, I'd guess the mangaka took a lot of inspiration from My Hero. And it definitely took a lot of inspiration from Fairy Tail, a manga about wizards in a guild going on missions. Fairy Tail is also often seen as a discount One Piece. Black Clover is this generation's Fairy Tail, a new knockoff series of something more popular and better. The point of saying all this is that My Hero is a step in the right direction for the shonen battle manga genre to progress. But sometimes I hear people talk about the series being this amazing, unique series, and my response is, well, it's good, but it's not that different from the other stuff we've had. I think shonen series like Mob Psycho 100 or One Piece are easily more in-depth and unique than My Hero. My Hero, once again, is a familiar formula done right and improved upon. Look at Naruto's structure and you'll find tons of similarities. A struggling underdog, strong-willed protagonist, a powerful rival, school setting of teens with unique abilities, etc. Of course that's simplifying things, but it's clear what kind of foundation and inspiration My Hero is building off of. The reason for why My Hero is so highly praised and Black Clover is allowed to exist are the same. Drought. As I said, the shonen battle genre is no longer plentiful. The kinds of stories Dragon Ball inspired have fallen out of favor, leaving a handful of manga to occupy the shonen battle genre. So when My Hero and Black Clover showed up soon after Bleach and Naruto Shippuden ended, the two were embraced to fill the void left behind. Well, My Hero was embraced. I don't know who's reading enough Black Clover to justify an anime. So, with all that said, I would like to share a few ideas of how My Hero could be more unique, and maybe the shonen genre as a whole could be more unique also. Number 1. Vigilante. In the first few chapters, the students compete in trials of strength, endurance, and throwing a ball. Lowest score gets expelled. Midoriya gets the lowest score, but doesn't get expelled because he inspired his teacher or has All Might vouching for him or something like that. But, what if he did get expelled? Besides being a good twist, Midoriya would have to learn his abilities on the street and become a hero while being an illegal vigilante. The story could highlight vigilantes who fight crime for free and contrast them to the professional paid heroes. Sort of a battle of ideologies. In fact, there's a vigilante spin-off manga happening right now. Imagine if the stories combined. 2. Midoriya does not get One for All and becomes a tech hero, using his strategy and ingenuity to develop tools to overcome superpowered foes. The theme of the series could be that powers don't make heroes, brains and determination do. 3. Swap out Midoriya. As far as protagonists go, Midoriya is pretty uninteresting. He fits the need for a gold-hearted, strong-willed protagonist, but he's pretty two-dimensional and often gets overshadowed by the supporting cast. What if we made Bakugo the main character? An angry, aggressive protagonist with heroic intentions, but his greatest obstacle is his own personality. The story becomes about Bakugo progressing as a person, which in turn changes what kind of hero he becomes. And as he watches from afar, as Midoriya progresses from absolutely worthless to one of the most powerful heroes around, it would create a lot of tension for Bakugo's character, who at one time saw Midoriya as just a stepping stone. Those are just some of my ideas. So, I know most of the people watching this have probably only watched the My Hero anime, but please, read the manga. Aside from losing out on Horikoshi's fantastic artwork, Season 1 of the anime drags out a lot of the chapters to fill the runtime and completely ruins the story's great pacing. The first 2 chapters get stretched out over about 3 episodes. By the time the 13-episode season is up, we've barely gotten through chapter 20. Remember the ball scene I mentioned? As a reader, it's obvious Midoriya won't be expelled. You're not going to introduce all this setting and characters and then just throw it out the window. In the manga, this is a little more than 1 chapter's worth of tension. Maybe about 30 pages in total. So maybe like 10 minutes of reading time? But the anime stretches this out to 22 minutes. So once the other characters do their thing, I'm thinking, okay, he obviously won't be expelled, just get on with it. I suspect all this dragging out was so the season could end on All Might's intense fight with the Nomu. That being said, Season 2 is a great improvement to the pacing and overall a better watch. I also realized the irony of advocating the manga while showing anime clips, but video editing is a long and tedious process and I don't got time for all that. So please, read the manga. My Hero has set a standard of what newcomers to the genre have to meet. Generic stuff like Black Clover just doesn't cut it anymore. Or maybe it's just time to let that genre of battle manga pass. Sure, manga can keep evolving and changing, but there's going to be a point where so much has changed that it turns into an entirely different beast. And that's not a bad thing. There's tons of series like Kekai Sensen and One Punch Man that manage to have the colorful characters and intense action the typical shonen battle series has, despite being very different kinds of stories. Tastes change, media changes, and that's it. Go read the manga.